fighting the women. All right. Sheesh.
Oh my gosh. So Shannon Sharpe, friend of the channel,
Yeah, of course.
he he's been sued for SA for assault of the sexual variety. Apparently, there's a woman who is unmuting and seeking damages in the amount of $50 million from Shannon Sharpe, who is alleging that he did all the things to her. Um, she's saying that there was assault. She's saying that there was RAPE. She
Ooh.
is saying that all of these things took place. Shannon Sharpe is the assailant, and Shannon Sharpe is fighting back. Shannon Sharpe is saying these allegations are erroneous, and he's putting receipts on it by via his legal team releasing very explicit text messages between the two in order to make it very clear that it was a consensual relationship between the two, and that there was nothing unlawful going on. There was no
Foul play.
he foul. Yeah, I'm trying to Jonathan Majors. There was no Jonathan Majors going on.
Oh damn! What did that bastard say? Oh, he aggressed her.
Yeah. Shannon Sharpe is saying he did not aggress this woman. And his proof is by releasing these sexually charged text messages. Now, we are a family-friendly channel.
We are here.
So, so what I am going to attempt to do, I might not do a very good job. I am going to attempt to read some of these. I might slip up though and say something that is non-family friendly, but I am going to do my best to read a few of these just so that we can paint the picture here.
Okay.
So this says Shannon Sharpe shares alleged text from sexual assault accuser. Put a big black baby in me.
Oh Lord.
Shannon Sharpe's attorney, Lanny J. Davis, issued a response to the lawsuit accusing his client of sexual assault and battery. Released on Sharpe's X and Instagram account, the statement includes sexually explicit text that the NFL Hall of Famer and media personality allegedly received from his accuser. Davis accuses her lawyer, Tony Busby, of orchestrating a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharpe for millions of dollars. Okay, so again, just to reiterate, this woman is claiming Shannon Sharpe aggressed her. Shannon Sharpe is saying it is consensual, and part of the way to make it clear that it was consensual from Shannon Sharpe's side is to release a lot of these text messages, which contextualize their rapport, their interaction, and how it was consensual and that no one was being forced to do anything against their will. All right, so this is said statement, and the statement includes some of these text messages. All right, so again, I'm going to do my best, people, but I might slip up and utter some words because there's a lot of explicitness going on here.
Damn.
All right, so here we go. And I don't think I'm going to read the whole thing because it's kind of lengthy, but we'll see. So we'll see. Statement by Lanny J. Davis, counsel to Shannon Sharpe. So it starts with the text messages. Gabrielle Zuniga, this is the woman's name. Gabrielle Zuniga in a text message to Shannon Sharpe, October 7th, 2023. I know you miss this big juicy ass. $25K for each cheek.
Oh Lord.
Gabrielle Zuniga in a text message to Shannon Sharpe, January 1st, 2025. This lawsuit, filed by Gabrielle Zuniga and orchestrated by her attorney, Tony Busby, is a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharpe for millions of dollars. It is filled with lies, distortions, and misrepresentations, and it will not succeed. In her effort to extract a large financial settlement, Ms. Zuniga presented Mr. Sharpe with a secretly recorded video of a consensual sexual encounter. We believe the video has been heavily edited and taken entirely out of context, crafted to falsely portray a consensual act as non-consensual. Ms. Zuniga has refused to provide a copy of the full, unedited version of the recording to Mr. Sharpe's legal team. To set the record straight, we are releasing several of Ms. Zuniga's own explicit text messages to Mr. Sharpe that clearly indicate the nature of their relationship was consensual and sexual in nature, and in many cases initiated by her with specific and graphic requests. Contrary to the allegations she makes in her lawsuit, consensual sex continued until January 2nd, 2025, the day after she asked for $25,000 per cheek. As, as quoted above, as quoted above from her text message to Mr. Sharpe, there are other examples of text from Ms. Zuniga, for example. All right, people. So, parental advisory warning, just in case I slip up here.
Oh Lord.
Uh, Only if you put that baby gravy in me, then I can do whatever I want to me. Text from Gabrielle Zuniga to Shannon Sharpe, November 23rd, 2023. I want to put my tongue in your backside hole and then marry you.
What?
Text from Gabrielle Zuniga to Shannon Sharpe, January 12th, 2024. That's my daddy. F, I want you to put a big black baby in me.
That's racist as hell.
Text from Gabrielle Zuniga to Shannon Sharpe, August 6th, 2024. You better crave it because you're going to be stuck with it for life after you put a big black baby in me.
Oh, wow.
Text from Gabrielle Zuniga to Shannon Sharpe, August 11th, 2024. These messages are just a sampling of a broader pattern of graphic sexual communications initiated by Zuniga. The evidence paints a clear picture. This was a consensual adult relationship that included role playing, sexual language, and fantasy scenarios explicitly requested by Ms. Zuniga. The edited tape that Zuniga secretly taped and showed to Mr. Sharpe during her blackmail attempt tries to falsely portray, as a result of this editing and out of context from prior text messages, that the sexual activity was not consensual. But Mr. Sharpe now believes her secret taping was all part of her planned setup as part of her blackmail scheme, as distorted by her edited tape, a copy of which she refused to make available to Mr. Sharpe or his counsel. Mr. Sharpe categorically denies all allegations of coercion or misconduct, especially the gross lie of the R word, and will not submit to what he sees as an egregious attempt at blackmail. He stands firmly by the truth and is prepared to fight these false claims vigorously in court. He looks forward to vindication through due process and a judgment based on the facts and the law. The woman is seeking $50 million in damages. So we don't need to go on with the article. That gives you the pretty idea of what is going on here. So, bro, this is mess right here, man. But what do you think about this?
I mean, this first of all, man, he must. I mean, that's pretty wild stuff for somebody to be texting you, man. That is. Shannon Sharpe is in it. I mean, I can't be surprised. You know, he does come off as, you know, because we talked about it before when we were talking about him and how he talks about dating, you know, nowadays and stuff like that. And you know, the situation was, I think we both came to the same type of agreement that, you know, he still acts like he's in college. You know, he still acts like he's a young man out here, you know, trying to do his thing. And so I'm not surprised that he's still out here, you know, paying for the box and into some kinky stuff. So I'm pretty sure some of the stuff the lady was talking about in those text messages went down, and he did that there. But I think that this, to me, overall, comes across as a situation where, guys, it's not a game. It's not a game out here. It's not a game out here. You know, especially for these celebrity dudes. I can't call it. I'm not going to sit here and say in victim shame. But to me, this does come across as a situation that they did have an understanding until they didn't anymore. And once that went out the window, yeah, that, you know, she was plotting on it. or tried to plan something possibly. Who knows? But those text messages, to me, they come across as somebody that is into the role. But her lawsuit was coming across as basically she was coerced and forced to go, to live like that. So all in all, man, for these celebrities, man, I really think that they need to watch what they're doing. Y'all can't be out here living like this. Um, Paying for box is ridiculous. You're not paying solid people. You're paying people who have relations for money. And I don't care how much you're paying them. They're not solid people. I don't care what kind of clothes they have on, what kind of car they drive. I mean, they're using underworld money to buy those things. So just because they're doing that or having relations with other celebrities doesn't make them credible. You're dealing with people that are hurt people because they're having relations for money. So for Shannon Sharpe, any one of these people out here that's out here living like this, man, um, I really think that these guys need to shut it down, um, and shut it down, and or um, cover yourselves better. I think part of this situation as well is that this lady refused to sign an NDA, uh, and that should have been his red flag there. Um, the other ones that go for it apparently be signing their NDAs. And this lady here, wanting that big black baby in her, she was definitely coming across as someone that had ulterior motives, at least from the baby stuff. She wanted check basically, and I think that's also why they released those certain ones because this lady's coming across like she want money. And yeah, bruh, ain't no cheeks worth 25K per. Like, I see why he ghosted her after that. And I'm pretty sure not too long after that, the Michelle tape came out. So he probably got some cheaper cheeks. So knowing that her bag was gone, she had something in the holster, apparently, allegedly. But all in all, man, I think Shannon, man, uh, I don't know if he's going to have to come off something. He might not get the whole 50 million, but he still might have to settle. And that's the reason for setting such a high bar on this situation. Even if they settle and he gets five, he still have to come off 5 or 10 million. Uh, that's a lot of money to pay for some rancid cheeks. But what are your thoughts, man, on Shannon Sharpe out here releasing these text messages, trying to clear his name, and just the whole situation in general? Shannon getting caught up in these wild allegations. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, shouts out to MM and Wake and Bake Radio on the chat. Shouts out to Wake and Bake Radio. Wake and Bake Radio, he been following us for a minute.
Yeah.
He said, I feel like this is a humiliation ritual since he's about to get this huge contract.
Also agree about that. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, this guy, bro. So he goes on his pot on routinely on Nightcap. This is why people like Shannon Sharpe shouldn't be listened to. This is a clear sign for why he shouldn't be listened to. When he's on Nightcap, and sometimes when he's doing his interviews on the Shay Shay thing, they'll get into relationships. Shannon Sharpe has all sorts of insight on how to do relationships properly. He has a lot of advice and takes on what guys should do and not do, what guys should look for and not look for, what this means and what that doesn't mean in terms of women's behavior. He has a lot of insight. But what you have to learn, what you have to understand is insight from him comes from his prism of his it comes from the prism of relationships being transactional. If you are not living in a world where you're literally paying for vagina, You are listening to the perspective of an individual who is not comprehensible, juxtaposed to the way that you live. It's why you shouldn't listen to them. It's why you shouldn't listen to any of these people with any of these ridiculous opinions on stuff. You know, you can throw people like Shaq in there. Shaq pays for vagina. Shannon Sharpe very clearly pays for vagina. You know, when I first read those texts, it said $25,000 per cheek. Now, that to me meant one of two things. It either meant she literally costs $50,000 per session, or it means that he's gonna pay for her surgery. And she wants one of those top-notch surgeries where it basically costs like 25 racks per cheek. Either way, you're dealing with a woman who is extracting you for resources, and in return, what you receive is access to her vagina. A person who lives like that, in no way, shape, or form, should ever fix their face to be giving relationship advice. Ever. But he'll go on his various platforms and he will wax poetically about his relationship perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And you have people like him who are flooding this relationship commentary market with these distorted views on relationships, which are rooted in their vantage point of being people who literally pay for access to women. Look, bro, I'm not here to listen. Shannon Sharpe got a bag, he make money, whatever. If that's how you want to live your life, I personally do not believe that just because you have elk, I don't believe that just because you have self-actualized financially, that it means you have to live in a world where you're paying for access to women. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept that. I never will. I never will. He's living that way because he wants to be. He wants to pay. He wants to pay for it. Yeah, I'm inclined. Like I want to say he's old enough to know that there's another way. I want to say that, but,
Right.
but he clearly does not see that there is no other way because he is treating himself in relation to women the same way that guys 30 years younger than him do with
Yeah.
money.
Right.
He's doing what the 20-year-old rappers do.
Right.
He's doing what the 20-year-old NBA players and NFL players do,
Right.
which is charge everything to the game.
Yes.
It's like, bro, you've self-actualized. You're in your 50s. If you were really about what you speak on your platforms, you would understand your value and know that a woman should have to earn her way into having access to your resources, not being given access to it merely because she exists with a vagina.
Hmm.
But you're doing this ridiculous. You're doing the same thing that the tweens do. But you'll get on your platforms and you'll talk about your relationship advice. It's ass backwards. It's ridiculous. So, as much as I want to come to his defense, because I do believe he's dealing with an extortion artist, at the end of the day, my sensibilities compel me to take it back to holding the person who is ultimately responsible for this, which, in my opinion, is Shannon Sharpe.
Yeah. He put himself in this.
He absolutely put himself in this
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
situation. There are countless women who probably look as good as this chick who will
Better.
give it up for free
Yes.
because you're Shannon Sharpe.
I don't get it, dog.
They will give it up for free because you're Shannon Sharpe, Club Shay Shay, the however many $1 million man on ESPN First Take, and you got your whole media thing that you're trying to get off the ground.
I don't get it, dog.
But you're sitting around paying these sex workers. And then you have the unmitigated gall to give relationship advice to guys who don't pay for sex workers. Like, bro, you can't make sense of this. You cannot make sense of it. You cannot be a guy who pays for access to women, but then give advice on how men should get women. What you are essentially doing is telling them how to get women in the way you get them, which is, I pay for it. Here's how you should pay for it too. Very, very dangerous rhetoric, man. This to me is all on Shannon Sharpe. As far as I'm concerned, if he does ultimately end up having to, pay some sort of a penance for this financially, I'm not going to have any sympathy for him. Um, he doesn't have to be doing this, and he chooses to do it anyway. There's billions of these women in the world who don't nearly do this kind of stuff, and you're electing to get with these women, and then
Right.
you parade around acting as though you're somebody who would do things differently if given the opportunity, or if women were different. Women are different. You're the one who's paying for women. That's you.
Right.
You're making this choice to do that, bro.
Correct.
You're the one who's making this choice. And so now I'm supposed to sit here and believe he's a victim. I'm not buying it. So as far as I'm concerned, he gets everything that comes with this. He is perpetuating a very dangerous dynamic
Mm-hmm.
between men and women currently. It's very damaging, and he is an agent of this kind of transactional nature that men and women have elected to invoke when it comes to how we deal with one another. He's an agent of this. And if he wants to live his life that way, that is his prerogative. But don't poison the well by getting on your platforms and giving your ridiculous relationship advice, because it really holds no weight.
I agree, dog, and that's what I was saying. Like, it was, I forgot what the story was when we was talking about him, man. But we both came to like the conclusion, like, we expect more maturity from somebody that's in his position, but he's talking like you said, one of these young ball players that, you know, basically he just never evolved. Like he never left being a locker room guy, and whatever, and then get on the pod and talk cash money, like how he out here slaying these ladies, as if he's not paying.
Right.
But then now it's come to find out that you out here paying for the box. That will always. I think I don't get it. I don't get it. And I can't sit here and act like uh um I can try to understand. The parts of me that try to understand it is still lame. It's still lame because it's like, oh, dog, you're Shannon Sharpe. At this point, everybody knows who you are. And like you said, man, them aunties will give it up. The young girls will give it up.
The young girl, yeah, it ain't even age, because the young chicks will do it too.
Yeah. So, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. It's a situation where I'm pretty sure they come wallet first. You know what I'm saying? Where it's a situation where they see something they want, they try to shoot their shot for whatever reason. Women aren't really interested or whatever, and they come with the wallet. Next is like, hey man, I'll pay your rent. And even in that context, bro, it's like, are these the context you want to hit? This how you want it? Like, she doing this for rent money? Like, at that point, you're not doing it for the love of the women. You're doing it for another reason, and it's getting weird. And that's why they would do it in a situation where they have all these resources. They would have women throw themselves at them in whatever position, and they still would bypass that to go pay for somebody that don't want them. That is actually ridiculous. And to speak on what Bruh said in the chat, man, I took the Michelle situation as a humiliation type of situation, but who knows what's going on with this? But it's definitely taxing his ass. So that 300, and because this is coming right when he's getting that 300 million, whatever he's supposed to be getting, and they're taking 50,000 of this, 50 million of this. So they're taxing his ass immediately as soon as he got that paycheck. And you know how it worked, man. 300 million is more like 150. Now they're going to take off another 50 million right off top. So now that 300 million is more like 100 million. So he can take this to court and fight it, put his lawyers involved in it, and X, Y, and Z, man. He's still going to come out on the back end of this settlement somewhere. Because there's so much ambiguity with this situation. They sitting around trying to get ahead of this tape that she allegedly edited Man, when they start getting in court and start playing that stuff, bro, you're gonna start looking crazy. Because if you're into some kink fetish stuff where you wanna, you know what I'm saying, choke women out and get in all that other stuff, man, like what's going on, man? But again, bro, like once people start getting to that like how bro on that OF model wanted to get wrapped up and stuff, man. You know, once you out here and you been paying for it for 30 years, like Shay Shay has, just doing regular doggy style and missionaries and from the side just don't cut it anymore. Hey man, you want to be an aggressor. You want to get into role play. You want to get into other weird stuff, man, and that's how you get here. So, yeah, man, wild stuff. That's what I said, man. For these guys out here, these celebs, man, these are not safe waters you guys are treading in. There's all kinds of things come out, and that's why I told you in that Neo situation, bro. I was like, it's smart for him to get ahead of this. Said, hey, I'm not forcing these women to be here. You know what I'm saying? You gotta say that nowadays because situations like this can pop up where this woman looked like she was all in, at least according to Shannon Sharpe. Now all of a sudden she was forced and coerced. So yeah, man, these are wild times. But again, you get what you know when you're dealing with those kinds of women.
Yeah.
What's stopping them from doing that? You know, just get you a regular woman at Home Depot, bro. Pull up in there and say, I run Club Shay Shay. You know what I'm saying? We close at 2 something. And then, you know, she ready for it. But hey, man, who knows, bro? All I know is Shannon Sharpe, yet again, looking crazy out here, man. I mean, what a polarizing man. I mean, he's in the news every other month at this point, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think when you've made a habit of um you know, you acquire sex, you acquire women. What was I about to say? Like, his the way that he acquires women, or the way that you acquire women, is by dealing with women whose relationship with men is their business.
Yeah.
Like, what she's attempting to do to him is essentially her job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, her job is being an extractor,
Mm-hmm.
financially, monetarily, resource wise, and her extracting tool is is her existence, is sex, is her vagina. So she's doing her job, and you're complaining or trying to fight against the fact that she's doing her job. Like, what are you doing? Like, if I'd walk into Home Depot and they try to sell me a screwdriver, I'm not going to be appalled. It's a home department store. They've got screwdrivers here. Their job is to try to sell me tools. If they attempt to sell me a screwdriver, I am not going to feel affronted because they tried to sell me a screwdriver. If I didn't want to be sold a screwdriver, I wouldn't have walked into Home Depot. And what people like him are doing is walking into Home Depot and getting mad because the store is trying to sell him a screwdriver. Why is the way that you go about acquiring women and sex paying for it and dealing with sex workers exclusively? Shannon Sharpe is a part of a bigger problem, in my opinion, of
Mm-hmm.
men who have been conditioned to believe that their value juxtaposed to women is inherently less, and that a woman's value is inherently more, and therefore that more is valuated with an asking price that we must therefore be willing to pay. He is a part of the perpetuation of that idea by his actions and his behavior. And he is not the only one. A lot of guys in his position are capitulating to this, and they are doing a grave disservice to men everywhere. See, that's my issue. My issue isn't what Shannon Sharpe does. My issue is the normalization of the behavior, and the fact that now we're creating this environment in which women are going to believe that this is commonplace. Don't come up to me thinking that you're going to extract me or handle me in a transactional way. It's not going to work. I'm not built like that. And just because you see these weirdos doing this doesn't mean that they speak for every man, because trust me, they don't. But then again, I probably wouldn't run up against that because I'm not dealing with transactional women.
Correct.
And you can choose to not deal with transactional women. You don't have to deal with transactional women. And by the way, transactional women aren't the only women who are into the kinky stuff. if you're trying to go down that road, if you're into that role play and all of that other stuff, there's the non-transactional off the grid women who are about that life too. Just like there's the non-transactional off the grid women who aren't going to make you pay for it just because they exist.
They're into women that aren't into them, and that it's something there at the very core of it all. Because I agree, but he doesn't want to have relations with a woman that's into him so much that she would do a kinky thing. He's into paying for somebody that's not into him at all to do these kinky things.
That's
And
weird.
he's attracted to women that aren't attracted to him, that look at him like a wallet, which is weird. And that's what I'm saying. Like, trying to get into the mindset of what makes them do this is like, at some point, because I get it when, if it's like, hey man, I'm just trying to get my rocks off. I'm just trying to get my rocks off. But there's women out here for free that you can get your rocks off for. So why drop 10K?
Well, it's misleading because even if that is your MO, why openly pay lip service to the idea that you're on something else? And that's the problem. Get off my lawn with that crap, bro.
Nah, for
You're
real, bro.
you're not a relationship guy. You're not a marriage guy. You're not a I would get married, I would commit if these conditions were met. No, you're just not built for it.
No, he's not
You
into that.
you're not. Yeah, so stop trying to convince the world you are. You're paying for it the way the rest of these weirdo guys are. The way that the rest of your cohort is, you're on the same vibration, bro. You are. And you're peddling your ridiculous rhetoric to unsuspecting people who may or may not know no better. I don't know, man. I just can't feel sorry for this guy, and I can't jump to his defense. I can't do it. I can't do it. He's in this position willfully. When you're dealing with women like this, they're not forcing you. You're dealing with them because you want to be there. So just be honest and live in your truth. Crying foul, cry victim, and doing all of this stuff. She's extracting you because she's doing her job. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
you
So
walked into Home Depot, and now you're trying to, sidestep them selling you a power tool when that's what Home Depot's job is, selling you power tools.
hey, bro, agreed, man. But hey, guys, let us know down in the comment section, y'all. Y'all feel as though we was too harsh on Shannon? Man, y'all think we harsh on everybody? You know what I'm saying? Or hey man, do you feel as though this is just a wild situation overall? But what are y'all's thoughts on Shannon Sharpe dropping these text messages? What was in those text messages? And how do you guys feel as though Shannon Sharpe got himself in this mess to begin with, man? This is a wild situation. Shout out to Wake and Bake Radio
Yeah.
for commenting. And guys, we do this every Tuesday night, man. So come join the shenanigans, guys, while we consciously approach these these weirdos.
Yeah. I don't get it, man.
Crazy
I,
stuff.
I am not. No shouts out to Shannon Sharpe, bro. You get lashes for this one, bro. Sorry.
Yeah, 1,000 of them, bro. You know what I'm saying? 25K, bro.